Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time zone you are in. My name is Attorney Justin Camper, and this is the Stay Legal channel, and I'm here to give you criminal defense strategies to help you protect and defend your freedom. This is the go-to channel to help you with criminal defense strategy. So I'm glad you're here, and we're going to talk about an extremely important topic. As a matter of fact, this might be the most important legal topic that you may ever need to know when it comes to criminal defense. So let me introduce myself. My name is Attorney Justin Camper. I am a criminal defense attorney located right here in Northern Indiana. It is our mission to help our clients protect and defend their freedom, to help them avoid jail and reclaim freedom in their lives. And on today, again, I'm going to talk to you why you should plead not guilty, even if you think you may have done the crime. So we're going to start with point number one. You have to understand exactly what pleading not guilty really means. When you plead not guilty, you're basically exercising your constitutional right to remain silent, to not incriminate yourself. Even if you know you feel like you are 100% guilty of the crime, when you go to court without consulting with your attorney, you don't plead guilty right away, right? What you do instead is you focus on pleading not guilty and you hire counsel. You want to preserve that constitutional right to remain silent. You want to make sure that you are putting the burden on the prosecution to be able to bring the charges before a judge or a jury and to be able to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. So that's point number one, is that you have to understand what it means in the legal world to actually plead not guilty. Number two is that, as I've already stated, you are protecting your rights. When you are in front of a criminal justice system in America, there are certain rights that come with every single criminal defendant. The right to remain silent, the right to a fair and impartial jury trial, the right to a speed trial. You want to make sure that you are reserving those rights. And so that's why I bring to you that, you want to make sure you're protecting your rights. So I do not advise that anybody plead guilty until they are first getting case. Also, point number three is that the evidence isn't always what it seems. So maybe you did commit the crime, but once your attorney looks at the case, it might come out as what they call an affirmative defense, which means that you may have committed the crime, but you have a legal defense against the crime. For example, self-defense. That's a very easy one that all of us can understand. If someone hits us, we have a right to hit them back and defend ourselves. So did you technically commit battery by hitting someone? Yes, you did. But you have a legal defense. So you want to make sure that you give your attorney the opportunity to be able to see if there's any affirmative defenses that may apply to you in your matter. Point number five is that I want to make sure that you understand that when you are pleading not guilty, you increase the bargaining power that the attorney can use to try to help you with your case. So pleading not guilty is one thing. But then the second thing is your sentencing. When you plead not guilty, it helps the attorney be able to negotiate. When you plead guilty, then you've taken away the burden from the state. And so the state doesn't have to agree to a sentence that might be in your favor, but they might be willing to agree to a sentence in your favor if you plead not guilty. My next point is that there might be mitigating factors that can change the outcome of your case. And it's important for you to understand that. So you don't just plead guilty, because if you plead guilty too soon, those mitigating factors can't be used for your case. So for example, like there might be a situation where you had been under duress, right? You were forced to do this criminal act. So we need to know that, right? Because if you were under duress, that can help. And we can even get the state to agree to maybe even dropping the charges. So we want to make sure that all the mitigating factors are around your case is taken care of. Next is that even though you may plead not guilty initially, you can always plead guilty later. When you have a plea with set terms and a set sentence, you can always plead guilty later. So keep that in mind. Another thing is that there's a stigma and there's consequences to a guilty plea. So when you plead guilty, now you have a criminal conviction on your record, and that can affect jobs, that can change whether you have gun rights, that can change your child custody rights. So you want to make sure you understand all of those complications before you plead guilty. So make sure you talk to your attorney so you understand all the consequences that come with pleading guilty. So I talked to you about several things today about why you should not plead guilty initially when your case first starts. I talked about number one is that you don't even know necessarily what not guilty plea means, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that you did it. It's just saying that at that moment, I want to reserve my right. Number two is that you want to protect all of your rights by not pleading guilty. Number three, the evidence isn't always what it seems. So you have to make sure your attorney is looking through it before you plead guilty to a case. Pleading not guilty increases your bargaining power with the state so you can be able to negotiate a better sentence if you plead not guilty initially. Number five is, again, there might be some mitigating factors that can change the outcome of your case. For example, if you did a crime under duress or you were forced to do a crime, the state might dismiss the case, so you don't want to plead guilty too soon. Number six is that you can always change your plea later. And often this does happen where we have a plea agreement where we agree that if we plead guilty, the state doesn't have to prove their case, but the state has to agree to the sentence that we are willing to agree to. Number seven is that there are certain stigmas and consequences when it comes with a guilty plea. So you want to make sure that you understand all the consequences that come with a guilty plea before you plead guilty. Yep. Those are all the tips. I hope that you understand everything. If not, I'm definitely open to answering questions. This is not official legal advice. It's more like legal information, legal education. But if you want to become a client, if you want to give me a call, you can definitely do that. Like I said, I'm right here located in Northern Indiana. My number is 219-281-6166. My website is justincamperlaw.com. We are the criminal defense law firm. We have multiple attorneys that work at our firm, and we would love to help you with your case. So if you are in Indiana or you're local in the area, please give us a call. We're looking forward to representing you and making sure your rights are protected. And again, as you go throughout your day, as you take this legal advice, always remember to stay legal. Looking forward to hearing from you soon.